AKK is going on very well. There is no problem with AKK. We are still very much on course, and the construction process is ongoing. I don't know if you would even like to have the opportunity of inspecting, but AKK is very much on course. There's no problem with AKK. That's all I can say. I cannot tell you exactly where they are now, because as we speak, they are moving. So if I tell you they are already at Kaduna, they would have probably gone past Kaduna by now. But we are taking the construction from two ends, one from the Kaduna end going all the way to Kano, and the other from the Ajaokuta end going all the way down to Kaduna. And I can tell you that we are still very much on course to meet our deadline. Modular refineries, we've licensed quite a bit. I'm not in a position to give you an exact figure now, but I know that a few of these refineries are under construction, and very soon we'll be commissioning at least 3 new modular refineries. You know that just last year we commissioned the one in the Walter Smith one, which is functioning very well. And since then, I've also laid foundation stone for Atlantic Refinery. And there is a Niger Delta one that is also ongoing, almost ready to be commissioned in Port Harcourt and so on. So there are quite a few modular refineries that are ongoing. So that program is on course.
Is that producing
Well, it depends. The Walter Smith one is 5,000 barrels a day, and they are producing. They are producing very comfortably. There is no problem at all. The Atlantic one is not finished, but they too, I mean, they are very well, very much on course to conclude, to finish construction by first quarter next year. And there are other modular refinery projects that are ongoing now. You asked about the meeting with Labour on petrol price, whether that meeting is still on course. It is on course. I told you, the issue is not just about discussing with Labour, because we've agreed between Labour and us that we need to put a framework in place for the implementation of the regulation. Because more or less, there is consensus across the table now that the regulation is desirable. But how do we achieve it? That's the question now. And the Labour and us have agreed. So we are now in the process of putting the infrastructure and the process in place. And once we are able to agree on that process with Labour, then we are ready to deregulate. So we'll keep it here at 162 in that band now, within that band for the time being. But we are in the time also at the moment trying to work out the processes to allow the deregulation to come to fruition. Because right now we don't even have a choice anymore. It is a matter of law. So we have to ensure that this happens. But we have to ensure that also the ordinary Nigerian is well catered for before it is that law is actually operated.
Sorry, do you have a timeline in place for this?
I cannot give you a timeline now, but it's not going to be too far from now. We've done quite a lot of work, extensive work. The Vice President is actually leading that process, and we've done extensive work, but I cannot now give you a timeline, because we're also talking about the other option is to give you the alternative fuel as well, which is gas. we're also working on that. That has gone quite far. You know, the president already launched the auto gas program in December last year. So that is also ongoing. And we will put everything together at the end, and then we'll come back to you. OPEC Secretary General, yes, I had very interesting discussions with the OPEC Secretary General, who happens to be a very illustrious Nigerian, a very patriotic Nigerian also, who also knows that there is a need for us to increase our production. But of course, there are processes in OPEC to increase your quota. So yes, the discussions have started, but those processes cannot be circumvented. Even if you have your person as Secretary General, you cannot circumvent those processes. So I can assure you that we are still working now, and we will soon get to that point where we can at least have some improvement. But that will also depend on the performance of the global market situation, which for now is beginning to improve. And we are hoping that we'll be able to have some improvement in our production quota. And of course, pursue our target of increasing our production to 3 million barrels very vigorously.
Thank you very, very much, sir. And I'm sure he has adequately answered all our questions. In case you have more, just wait for the presidential briefing tomorrow.